Let's go live now to Chief Reporter Connor our 4K. And Connor, how does that actually work?
Leo, Tasmania is somewhat of an outlier when it comes to elections. All other states and territories have a fixed 4-year term. In Tasmania, they have a maximum 4-year term, meaning that an election could really be held at any moment. In this case, it was called 5 weeks ago, 1 year before it was actually due to be held. Now that's because Premier Peter Gutwein called the election in the interests of stability after the Liberals were reduced from a majority government to a minority government. Others have suggested that he tried to ride the wave of pandemic popularity afforded to other incumbent governments, such as those in WA, Queensland and New Zealand. Now this, of course, all follows 5 weeks of campaigning which centred around health and the economy. Yesterday, Tasmanians headed to the polls, downing a democracy sausage and casting their ballots. Now let's take a look at those all-important results. 25 seats were up for grabs in the state election. 13 were needed in order to secure a majority. Last night, 12 were secured by the Liberals, and that was enough for Premier Peter Gutwein to declare victory in a speech made last night. The most recent count can be seen at the bottom of your screen now, Gutwein vowing not to govern if his party fails to reach 13. Labor conceding their loss last night, with opposition leader Rebecca White, a heavily pregnant opposition leader, unlikely from the beginning to ever form government. The Greens say they're back in town after a swing towards them. Now let's take a look at some of those concession and victory speeches last night.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a night. What a night. And whilst we have won this election convincingly, it appears increasingly likely that we will also govern in majority. And whilst obviously there's some counting to be done, it would be an absolute honour and a privilege to be given that opportunity by the Tasmanian people.
I hope this campaign has been a wake-up call for the Liberals that Tasmanians will not tolerate business as usual from the Liberal government. Tasmanians will not tolerate surgery waiting lists that are the worst in the country. They will not tolerate ambulance response times that are slowest in the country. And they will not tolerate Tasmanians dying in the emergency department because they can't access the healthcare they need. And Tasmanians will not continue to tolerate the endless infrastructure promises that are never fulfilled. Just because we have fallen short of forming government at this election, it does not mean that we will stop fighting to make Tasmania a better and a fairer place.
This election saw the Liberals vying for a historic third term and 2 leaders fighting for their political lives. Both leaders said that they would not lead a minority government. We're still waiting to see them bow out. Now, it is always going to be a tight election, a nail-biting finish. And Leo, tonight the count continues, and it may well do for a couple more weeks.
Alright, Connor 4K line for us tonight, thank you. And for more coverage of Tasmania's state election and what we can expect for the future, head to our newly refreshed website, 6newsau.com.